Okay, these are a little bit more difficult. They're radical equations, but the problems as you work them will be more steps. You got the square root, so that's me putting a 2 in the index, of x plus 7 equals x plus 5, okay? So first thing you do, you kind of highlight your radical. There's no operations outside there, okay? There was none, so you're ready for your second power. Now the side with the radical just cancels and we just have the expression x plus 7. Now on the other side, x plus 5, the other assignment is just a number over there you could just raise to the second power. Well, now it says expression, so what you do is you duplicate the expression, and that's 2 by 2, because that plus sign makes it 2 terms. Okay, so that's a FOIL. So we take x times x, then you take x times 5, 5 times x, and 5 times 5. So that's x to the second, that's 5x, that's 5x, and that's 25. Okay, so you're going to have x to the second, then you combine the 5x and the 5x, that makes 10x, and then plus 25. Now, the reason this is a pain is because, well, first off, you can already see you had to FOIL, okay? And now it's not a linear expression, it's a quadratic expression, so you can't use linear properties to get the x by itself, okay? You need to label your A, B, and C, so A, B, C, and that's a B, that's a C. Now you need to move everything to one side so you can factor the expression to get the 2 answers. So minus 1x, and that can go from the 10x, minus 7 from the 25. So equals 0, then you have 1x to the second, then 10 minus 1 is 9, then 25 minus 7 is 18. Okay, so you go GCF table. Okay, you try to factor the expression. So GCF's 1, okay, we're not going to be doing anything there. And then 2 factors of positive 18 that have to add up to positive 9, okay? So the signs have to match if they have to be 2 factors of a positive, but they'd match as positive because they have to add to positive 9. Okay, 1 and 18, nope. 2 and 9, nope, that's 11. 3 and 6, there you go. Okay, A is 1, that's good. So if A is 1, you can discard the 1, it no longer needs to be there, and you can just write that as x plus 3 times x plus 6. X, and then 3 times 6 adds up to 9. Okay, F1, F2. So x plus 3 equals 0. X plus 6 could equal 0. So you minus 3, you get negative 3, minus 6, you get negative 6. Now, to check your answers, this is how this would be done. They both work, by the way. So let's put negative 3 in for x and add 7. Okay. And then over here, that was negative 3 plus 5. So negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Negative 3 plus 7 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So obviously that checks out. Now, put negative 6 in. So the square root of x plus 7 is now negative 6 plus 7. And then negative 6 plus 5. Square root of 1 is 1. Or no, hold on a second. Negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. But remember what we said a square root could be? When we square root of a number, it could be the positive or the negative. So yeah, positive 2 equals 2. Square root of 1 could be positive or negative 1. So that'd be negative 1. So yeah, that's why they both work like that. Okay? So that's okay. Remember, because a square root can equal a positive or a negative, so that's why the two answers came to fruition. Okay, I will not be checking the answers because this video is already going to be long enough without doing that. X minus 3 equals the square root of 5x minus 1. Okay? You don't have anything, your radical does not have any operations to it. It's already isolated by itself. So we're ready for the second power. Out the other side. So on this side you have 5x minus 1. The side with the radical you just drop the expression, but the side without the radical you need to write x minus 3 times x minus 3. So those are two terms. That's a 2 by 2. Okay, so you have to execute the FOIL method. Okay, so x times x times negative 3, negative 3 times x, and then negative 3 times negative 3. So x to the second, negative 3x, negative 3x, and 9. Negative 3 is negative 6x. Those do not cancel on a binomial square. Okay, again, you have a quadratic. So A, B, C, and then B, C. You got to move everything to one side. See, on yesterday's assignment, it ended up, when I got rid of the radical, it was just add an x to the first, so I could just use linear properties where I get the x by itself. Now I got x squared, so I have to use quadratic properties. Okay, so it's going to be 1x to the second. Negative 6 minus 5 is negative 11x. And then 9 plus 1 is 10. Okay, so GCF and table. GCF is going to be 1, so you don't really need that. Okay. So 1 times 10 is 10, positive, so the two, and they have to add to negative 11. So with a positive 10, the factors have to be the same sign, either double positive or double negative. Well, since they have to add up to a negative, they're going to be both negative. That'd be 1 and 10. Okay, that adds to negative 11, indeed. And then A is 1x to the second, so you can go ahead and take the 1 out. You don't need that. That's irrelevant. So it would just be x minus 1 times x minus 10 equals 0. Okay, so F1, F2. So that's two answers. X minus 1 equals 0, x minus 10 equals 0. So add 1 to each side, you get 1, that's one of your solutions. Add 10, you get 10, that's your other solution. Okay, next one, we have the square root of negative 3x minus 5 equals x plus 3. That's the square root of negative 3x minus 5 equals x plus 3. So, your radical, check for operations outside. You don't have any, so you're ready to go to your second power to get rid of the radical, to remove the radical from the equation. So that cancels, and then that side, I will just have the expression negative 3x minus 5. Now on the other side, well, we have to duplicate x plus 3 times x plus 3. So that's 2 by 2, so that's the FOIL method. So it's x times x times 3, 3 times x, and 3 times 3. So x to the second, 3x, 3x, and 9. So you have x to the second plus 6x plus 9, and that's a quadratic now, so we have to use quadratic properties, not linear properties. So that's a B, that's a C, that's an A, that's a B, that's a C. Keep your A where it's at. Move everything over to the A side. So I could add 3x to the 6x, and then I would add 5 to the 9. Now I have a trinomial I can factor. 1x to the second, 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. Okay, so factor that. GCF and the big table. GCF's 1, so if it's just 1, 9, and 14 is 1, and you can't do X with that C there. Okay, 1 times 14 is 14 positive. We have to find two factors of positive 14 that would add up to positive 9. Well, two factors of a positive means the signs have to match, either negative, negative, or positive, positive. Since we have a positive 9 over there, they probably need to both be positives. 1 and 14, nope. 2 and 7, yeah. Okay. Now, A up there is 1x to the second. So again, with the 1, you can ignore, you can throw out the 1. Any other number you have to deal with, but not a 1. So x squared plus 9x plus 14 is going to be written as xx, because that's x squared, and then plus 2 plus 7, that's positive 14, and better yet, it adds to 9. So x plus 2 equals 0, x plus 7 equals 0. So I take 2 away, you get negative 2, and you get negative 7. Okay, negative 2, negative 7. Okay, next one, we have the square root of x plus 7 equals x minus 5. Square root of x minus plus 7 equals x minus 5. Alright? Any operators outside your radical? No, and don't tell me a 2. The 2 is what I put there as my radical degree. That's not an operator, okay? Operator would be like a 3 right here. So no, second power. Second power, out. Second power. So over here you got x plus 7. Over here you need to duplicate that out so you can see what you're doing. Plus negative, so that's a 2 by 2. Okay, that's a FOIL. So x times x. X times negative 5. Negative 5 times x. Negative 5 times negative 5. So that's x to the second, negative 5x, negative 5x, and positive 25. So you got your x to the second. The negative 5's combined to negative 10x, and then plus a 25. Once again, you have a quadratic. So the A, B, C, but then you got a B and a C over here you need to move. So 1x plus 7, you need to minus the 1x from the negative 10x, and then minus the 7 from the 25. So 1x second, that's A. Negative 10 minus 1 is negative 11x, that's your B. 25 minus 7 is 18, that's your C. Okay. Alright, so I go GCF and table. Okay, 1, 11, and 18 is 1. Get that out then. So, two factors of positive 18, that would add to negative 11. 118, nope. 2 and 9, I think, does the job. Okay, they both need to be negatives to make negative 11. So A up there is 1x second. Okay. So it'll be x minus 2 times x minus 9 equals 0. So F1, F2. Okay, so x minus 2 equals 0, x minus 9 equals 0. So plus 2, you get 2. Plus 9, you get 9. Okay, 2 and 9. Okay, now the next problem looks a little bit different. Okay, I need to rewrite it better. We're going to have the square root of x plus 3. Okay, then outside the square root, you're going to have a minus 1 equals x. Okay. Alright, so Radicals of 2. Got anything outside? Yeah, you have an operation outside. So before you do the second power, you need to plus 1 and then do your second power. Plus 1, now you're like, well, what do I plus 1 to? Well, you plus 1 after the x. Since you don't know what x is, you just write that as x plus 1. Okay. Now you can do your second power. So second power, second power. Okay, so that side cancels and we have the expression x plus 3. Now over on the other side, x with the side without that, didn't have the radical, you need to figure out that product. You take x plus 1 times x plus 1. That's a 2 by 2, meaning it's a FOIL. So x times x times 1, 1 times x, and 1 times 1. X second, 1x, 1x, and 1. Okay. So it's going to be x to the second plus 2x plus 1. And now we're ready to at least apply quadratic properties. Okay. That's a b, that's a c. That's an a, that's a b, that's a c. So you need to move everything to the a side. Minus 1x, minus it from 2x. Minus 3, minus 3. So 1x second, there's your a. 2 minus 1 is 1, so plus 1x, that's your b. 1 minus 3 is negative 2, that's your c. Okay. Alright, so factor that. GCF and table. Okay, 1, 1, and 2, that's 1. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Okay. So positive times a negative, and you're adding to try to make positive 1. Okay. 1 and 2, well, that makes negative 1. Okay, so I'm good with that. I just need to make it into a positive by positive 2. Now that makes positive 1 when added. Negative 1, positive 2. Okay, you're adding to try to make, and then your a equals 1. Okay, so if a is 1x to the second, you're good to go with that. And you make 2 parentheses, okay? X, and then minus 1 plus 2 equals 0, okay? Those are your factors, F1, F2. So, x minus 1 could equal 0, or x plus 2 could equal 0. So you add 1 to each side, you get 1. Minus 2 from each side, you get negative 2. Okay, next one, the square root of 11x equals 2x, okay? Alright, so here we go. Anything outside your square root? No, so you go right to your second power. Second power, second power. That side cancels, and we just have the expression 11x plus 3. Now on the other side, 2x to the second. That means you got to write 2x times 2x. But it's not a FOIL problem because that's a 1 term by 1 term. So that's just taking 2x times 2x, which is 4x to the second. So it's just a monomial there. But I still need to use my quadratic properties because I have an a, a b, and a c. We just have to move them all to one side. So I minus 11x, and that can go after the a, and then I minus 3, and that can go after the b. Okay, so now we have 4x to the second. I'll do it down here. 4x to the second as the a, minus 11x, that's your b, minus 3, that's your c. Okay. Alright, and away we go. So GCF and the table. 4, 11, and 3 is just 1, okay? 4 times 3 is 12, so I have to find two factors of negative 12 that would add to negative 11. Well, the factors of a negative have to be a positive times a negative. 1 and 12. Okay, 1 plus negative 12, I do believe that's negative 11 right there. Okay, but, your a is a 4x to the second. Okay, so if a is 4, we're going to make two sets of parentheses as opposed to just the one, because we have to factor down the 4. 4x, 4x, 4x. Okay, then plus 1 minus 12. So 4 and 1, that would just stay the same, 4x plus 1, and that's your F1. 4 and 12 can be divided each by 4, and that's going to be 1x minus 3, and that's F2. Okay, so 4x plus 1 could equal 0, or 1x minus 3 could equal 0. Minus 1, 4x equals negative 1, divide by 4. You can just keep that as negative 1/4. And then plus 3, 1x equals 3, and it'd just be 3. Okay, so negative 1/4 and 3. Okay, two more. Now, this one looks a little bit different. X plus the quantity x plus 3 to the 1/2 power equals x plus 1. Now remember what I said, okay? A 1/2 power is the same as a square root, okay? We've done that. So why don't you just cross that out and make that into a square root? Because that's what a 1/2 power is. It's a square root, okay? And now you're just where you want to be. You don't have anything outside the radical. You can go to your second power. Cancels, and then you're going to have x plus 3. 1/2 is a square root, okay? You might see that. Okay, so you take your x plus 1 times your x plus 1, so that's 2 by 2. X times x times 1, 1 times x, and 1 times 1. So it's x to the second, 1x, 1x, and 1. So we're going to have x second, 1x plus 1x is 2x, and then plus 1. So it's a quadratic again. All these end up today as quadratics. Remember, quadratic means it has x to the second. So there's two solutions we need to be finding. So minus 1x from your 2x, minus 3 from your 1. So you have 1x to the second is a, 2 minus 1 is 1. That's your b. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. That's your c. Now you factor that, okay? I don't think you're going to have to do the GCF. Worth thinking about, though. Okay, 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So the signs have to be opposite, and they have to add to positive 1. 1 and 2. Well, right now that's negative 1. If I made the signs positive 2 and negative 1, then it'd be positive 1. Okay, a is 1x to the second, so you can cancel the a, okay? Doesn't need to be factored if it's just x. Well, it's going to need to be factored, but it's easy to do. It's just x times x. Minus 1 plus 2. So F1, F2. So x minus 1 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. So you add 1, you get 1. Minus 2, you get negative 2. Okay, remember with that half power today, what you want to do is just make it into a square root. And then the first power is kind of irrelevant. Okay, so then you just do what you've done before. Square root, cancel. Square root. Okay, so the side with the radical, we have just x plus 7. X plus 1 times x plus 1. FOIL. 1x, 1x, and 1. Okay. So x second, that's A. 1x and 1x makes 2x, that's B. And then plus 1, that's C. Okay, remember you have a B and a C that have to come over. So minus 1x from 2x, minus 7 from 1. Okay, so you have 1x to the second. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 minus 7 is negative 6. Okay. So GCF table. GCF's just 1. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. So it's a positive times a negative. And they have to add to positive 1. Okay. 2 and 3. Okay, 2 and 3 are good. But that, right now, the way I have the signs, it's at negative 1. So it'd be a plus 3 minus 2. Okay, and A is 1, x to the second. So you don't need your 1. It'd just be double parentheses with x minus 2 and x plus 3. So F1, F2. So x minus 2 could equal 0, or x plus 3 could equal 0. So add 2, you get 2. Minus 3, you get negative 3.